Hey, welcome. My name is Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I wanted to do a get ready with me. Now, I filmed this video a few weeks ago actually, and I guess I didn't film it because the first half where I literally got ready was not available on my camera or SD card and was somehow just gone. So, I was a little bitter for a little while, and I'm just kind of getting over it now, so I thought I would try again. But I have been going to this look that I'm going to be doing today, over and over the last few weeks, and honestly, probably 2 months, just because we're in that mask wearing society now, and my makeup routine has changed. And so I thought I would share it with you. It's also summer, it's humid. Actually, I have the windows open right now, so you might hear some birds chirping because it is beautiful this morning. I went outside this morning, and it's a little bit later now. It's 9:45. When I went out this morning at 6, it was 61 degrees and it was beautiful. And so I still have the windows open because it's still under 70. And so I'm going to take it in for as long as I can have windows open, and then we'll close them. Also, before we get too far, I want to address the elephant in the room. My nails are a mess. I actually was hanging out with a friend yesterday and she commented that my nails looked so beautiful because at the time they were long and all black and gel and shiny and just gorgeous. And then yesterday I was cleaning my kitchen and hit my middle finger on my knife block, and it just took my nail right off. I thought I had a broken nail down to my nail bed. I thought it was down further. Luckily, it just kind of took the tip right off, and so last night I was like, you know what? I'm just cutting them all off, and because it's gel, it doesn't do too well after you cut your nails and break the seal, and I also just can't stop picking at them. So we're left with this, but we're just gonna ignore it. So I have already done my skincare for this morning. Mornings I typically skip a wash unless if I take a shower, which I did not this morning. And if I shower, I use a scrub, but in my day-to-day life, when I just get out of bed and don't shower, I just use a washcloth on my face with some water, and then I'll usually use a toner in the morning. So I used the Bliss What a Melon toner. I actually talked about this in a recent video. I will link it above if you're interested. I talked about a bunch of summer essentials that you can find at Target. So they're inexpensive, they're all cruelty-free, and they're things that I love. That toner being one of them. And then I started using a new moisturizer. This is going to be a long video, by the way, just a heads up. I started using a new moisturizer from Lush. This is the Magical Moringa. It's a beauty balm. I was super interested in this. I don't feel like I've ever heard of this before, actually. I put in an order with Lush a few days ago I ordered online and then picked up in store because my store still isn't open. It's just kind of you can walk up to it at the mall and get your order that you ordered. And so I did that, and I decided to try this. It's a very balmy consistency, but it's supposed to be really mattifying and almost act as a primer to your skin. And so that's literally all I have on my face right now, and I did that 3 hours ago because I was out running errands earlier this morning. I had some work to do. So now I'm just sitting down to do my makeup, and again, it's been 3 hours. Usually I would be nice and oily at this point, especially without makeup, and I'm not. And so way to go, Lush. I'm excited to keep using that. Let's get started on the makeup section of this video. I'm using this Cover FX primer. This is the blurring primer. This is just a nice primer for especially summertime. My makeup has been very minimal as of late, which I am also breaking out like crazy right now around my mouth. I have a few pimples on my upper lip and they hurt so bad. I never break out there. It's got to be the mask situation. And then I've got a few around my chin area, and it's just driving me crazy. But I understand the mask. I'm using a mask every time I am out in public, and I'm not anti-mask. I'm just anti what the mask is doing to my skin. But it totally changes like how I do my makeup and like the products I use, the amount of products I use, where I put products. I'm not working today, so I'm not as worried. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time outside. We've been going to the beach a lot. I live in Minneapolis, and if you didn't know, Minnesota is the land of lakes. There's 10,000 lakes. I think there's actually over 10,000 lakes, but that's what it's known as, is like land of 10,000 lakes. And so the beach here is lakes. And we are planning on going to the beach later. I've had that Cover FX primer for a really long time. I got that in a BoxyCharm probably 2 years ago at this point. It is a really nice primer if you are looking for like a more mattifying, long-lasting primer. I also feel like I always have like fur on my face, especially wearing a mask. For concealer, I'm using the Pretty Vulgar Undercover concealer. I go back and forth right now between this and the Milani Conceal and Perfect concealer. I go with this one if I am not going to be wearing a mask like literally all day, because this one's a little bit more lightweight. It does move around a little bit, so if I'm going to be wearing a mask, I typically go for the Milani one because it doesn't move as much. But this one is super lightweight, not very much coverage. Which is kind of great for summer and my day off today. There's also, I'm almost out and I can't get the stopper out. Like normally I can get the stopper out, but I can't on this one for some reason, and it's kind of driving me crazy. I just kind of go into the areas that I want to conceal a little bit. But what I have learned as of late with mask wearing and summer in general, less is more. Less is so much more right now. I'm just gonna take this little brush to blend it out. This is from Luxie. This is actually like a contour brush, but I love it for concealer and foundation. I feel like it's not a super like condensed brush, so it does a nice job of blending out product without making it like too condensed, if that makes sense. Like it kind of airbrushes products a little bit, and I just kind of stipple it because I want to keep coverage, but I also want it to make it look like it's my skin. The only place I really like swirl it around is under my eyes because I want it to stretch a little bit further. I don't want a lot of product. I just want to have a little bit everywhere, if that makes sense. So I just kind of swirl it around. So that's kind of it. I feel like it gives a nice coverage without it being overdone. It doesn't look like I've got too much makeup on. Honestly, it doesn't really look like I have makeup on in general. It just looks a little bit more perfected and like a little glowy, which is kind of exactly what I'm looking for. Also, don't judge me. This brush I'm about to use is really dirty and I have not washed it in like 2 weeks, and I'm usually on top of washing my makeup brushes, and I have not been recently because life, you know? For powder, I'm using the Glossier Wowder powder. This has been a favorite. I'm actually getting ready to start my summer project pan, and this is going to be one of the products in that pan. I've got just a little tiny bit of product left, but once the product gets to that amount, especially if it's a product that I love, I'm like, I don't want to use it. Don't make me use it. I want to keep it forever and ever. And I'm like, Kelsey, stop being dumb. You just need to finish up the product. And so that's how I feel about this powder. I love this powder. It's been a favorite for years, which I've also had this powder for like a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know. I've had it for a while, and it has lasted a long time because it is a product that I use pretty often. This is just a little e.l.f. brush. I don't even remember what it's called. It's like a little tapered brush of sorts. But I'm just powdering kind of in the areas that I tend to get a little bit oilier, and like under my eyes to set the concealer and stuff. but I'm just taking really a light amount. This powder doesn't add really any coverage. It adds like maybe a touch, but with like such a small brush and the amount that I'm using, it really does not add much coverage. It just kind of sets things in place and makes me not look so oily, but it also still doesn't look like cakey or super dry. So one of my favorites for sure. That's going to complete the base look. For summer, I love a bronzy, glowy look. So I'm going to be using this Cover FX palette. This is a face palette. It's the Perfector face palette. I have it in the shade Light Medium. It's got like a bronzer contour shade and then like a highlight, a blush with a highlight, and then like a setting powder and like a brighter highlight. So I am going to start with the brightener, which is like what I'm going to use as a highlight here, this middle shade. And I am taking a highlighter brush from Luxie, and I am just gonna dust this on like I would a highlighter. I'm doing things a little bit out of order, so I'm gonna do highlighter, blush, then bronzer. I feel like it just makes your skin, it looks a little bit more natural, less like I just threw highlight on everywhere, and more like I'm glowing from within, which is my goal in life. Like, why wouldn't I want to glow from within? Also, because I have so little base makeup on, I feel like my color products, so like blush and bronzer, I feel like melts into my skin a little bit more without like a bunch of foundation and concealer and powder on, that it just kind of like becomes one with my skin more and looks more natural. Maybe not like immediately after doing my makeup, but like throughout the day, it just like melds really well and like looks really great and more natural, which again, goals. For blush, I'm using this Real Techniques brush. My friend gave this to me recently. I know this is like their old packaging, or like Feral, whatever you want to call it. This is just their blush brush. I had always seen brushes like this, and they were like kind of intimidating for me because I was like, well, how would you use that? I usually use like a fluffier blush brush, but this is great. So I'm going to go into the blush shade here, and I'm actually going to tap a little bit, tap into that pink highlight, and then back into the blush, tap off the excess, and just lightly brush that right onto my cheeks. Another goal in summer for me is I just want to kind of look sunburnt. I mean, that's kind of like a year-round goal. I put blush everywhere because I just want to like, I feel like it just adds this like healthy glow to the skin, and it just makes you look like young and youthful. And so I put blush on my brow bone, I put it on my cheeks and like blend it up into my temple. I mean, yeah, we'll get to other spots in a second. And then I go on my forehead, kind of like focus it at the top of my forehead, like where the sun hits. And then down my nose, a little on my chin, and then I take it down my neck as well. For bronzer, doing pretty much the same thing. Taking the same brush, gonna go into the contour shade, into the highlight, back into the contour, and then just focus it in the spots where you put bronzer. So I'm not contouring, I just am taking it like kind of right on my cheekbone and then up into my hairline. So almost like a little bit, just a touch lower than where I put the blush. So it's like, I guess it does some light contouring, but more bronzing. And then I just kind of swirl it out a little bit. And then the excess just really onto the side of my nose, onto like this area of my cheek. Because I feel like sometimes if you don't put anything like in this area, it just looks a little weird. So I just kind of take some excess bronzer, put it there. I'm going to take a little bit more and go under my jawline. And then drag it down my neck. If I was wearing a lower cut top, I would also just kind of like dust it all on my neck or my chest. But I'm wearing a crew neck today, so I'm just keeping it to the neck. I think that is nice and bronzed and glowy. For eyes, I am going to keep it very simple. It's funny because eyes are like the one area that you can kind of do a lot of makeup on right now without it getting all messed up by a mask. But I feel like because I have not a lot of makeup on elsewhere, having like a full eye look is a little too much almost. I do it sometimes, like not gonna lie. I will go in with lots of glitter and like metallics and I love it. But for like my day-to-day makeup, not so much. Using the Milani eyeshadow primer. I've had this for a little while. Really great. It's classic. I don't know why it took me so long to try it. The main reason I still go in with an eyeshadow primer, even if I'm not really doing much on my eyelids, is because I feel like my eyelids, they do get a little bit oily, and so if I do nothing on them, they can, like, product just kind of like builds up on my lids and it doesn't look super cute and it doesn't feel good. Like, it feels oily, where with the primer I feel like it doesn't feel oily. It just kind of keeps it a little bit more powdery feeling, a little bit drier. I kind of work it up into my brows too. I like to have a little bit of texture to my brows before I go in with any product. Again, just kind of helps it get ready for brow pencil. Doesn't feel so like slippery. And we're just gonna use this palette because I mean, I'm not doing much to my eyes, and so I'm just gonna use some powders here. I'm gonna start with this finishing powder, which is kind of like a shimmery kind of powder. There's not like a ton of glitter in it. It's like a setting powder, but it's just like a glowy setting powder. And I'm just taking this like fluffy brush and I'm tapping into the setting powder and I'm kind of putting it everywhere, but kind of focusing on like the crease area-ish. Gonna use the same brush, go into the contour shade, just a little bit of product, and then put that into my crease. A lot of days I won't even do this step, I'll just leave it at the powder step, or instead of using like this powder, I'll use like the Wowder powder, or like I have a CoverGirl setting powder I'm also using right now, and I'll just use one of those on my lid. Just as kind of what's most available, what's easiest to use. You can add a little bit of that color to like the lower lash line too to kind of give you a little bit of definition. But I think I'm gonna leave it off today. I used to definitely be the person that like if I put eyeshadow on my lid, I had to put it on my lower lash line. It just felt weird to not. But recently I've been leaving it more clear and I kind of like it. Same brush. I'm gonna go into the brightener shade again, the lightest highlight shade, and then go on my brow bone with that. And then the other side of this brush is like a little flat shader brush. It's got some eyeshadow on there, just ignore that. And I'm gonna go into the bronzer highlighter shade, and I'm gonna take that on my lid, just like a little bit, just to add a little bit of like bronzy glow to my lid, but without it looking like I have like a full eye look going on. I just want a little bit of glow. I'm gonna go back to the brightener shade with the more flat side and take it in my inner corner. Ta-da! Moving on to brows, I'm gonna bring you in a little bit closer, I think. Yeah, I mean, that's as close as I can go, I guess. Maybe I'll scooch a little bit forward. There we go. A little closer. So you can see the brow process a little bit better. But for my brows, I'm using the Billion Dollar Brows Universal Taupe Pencil. There's no packaging on here anymore. It's all rubbed off. But it's just kind of like a chubby pencil. Nothing too specific. It's a taupey color. I'm gonna brush through my brows first. I use this pencil if I'm like not wanting to spend a lot of time on my brows because it's a super fast and easy brow pencil. I like to start on the underside to just kind of draw a line to get some initial shape in there. And then I drag out the tail end. And then I build up the top side of like the back end of the brow. And I kind of overline the top side. I don't have, like, my brows kind of, they're not super full towards the end. And so I kind of build in a little bit of extra brow towards the end of my brows. And then I'm just gonna lightly kind of feather in the front. The front part of my brows are pretty full and I like the shape. My brows are pretty light and so it doesn't show up super well. So I just kind of feather in a little bit of product so you can see my brows a little bit more, but not to the point where it's overdone. And if I do go a little bit heavy-handed, the product I'm gonna use next is going to really help with that. So I'm gonna build up my arch a little bit. There we go. So brow number 1 done. Yeah. Then I'm gonna brush through them again, kind of help break up the product a little bit, make it not so clumpy looking or harsh. To finish off my brows, I'm gonna be using the Flower Beauty Bubble Brow. This is one of my favorites. It is a discontinued product, which is so dumb. I don't understand. It's like the best brow product I've ever had. The only thing is it is inconvenient to use. So inconvenient. You have to have water. I mean, if you did your makeup in the bathroom, I guess that's fine. I do my makeup on my vanity in my room and I don't have water. So I have a little dish of water here. I'm just getting the little spoolie side wet. And then you run it through the product and then brush it through your brows. So this product, why I said it can kind of like help backtrack you a little bit on your brows if you like go in a little bit too heavy-handed. Because it's like a watery substance, I feel like it kind of gets rid of the product that's left on your skin and just kind of like clings to the product that's on your brows. So I feel like it just kind of like makes them look a little bit softer. Like this is with the product, this is without. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I feel like it makes it a little bit softer, but also like holds your brows in place. And that's all I could ever ask for from a brow product. Since my favorite mascara is gone, I mean, not gone, I just need to pick it up from work. That was dramatic. And I also need to get a new one. It's like running a little bit low. I'm using the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Mascara, which is also a good mascara. It was my old favorite. This one is towards the end of its life as well. And so I feel like I have to like go in with a bunch of mascara, but I guess I'll use this for today. You know what? I'm calling it quits with this mascara. I think this is gone. This just needs to go in my empties. Bye! I do have a Milani mascara I'll pull in. This is the Milani highly rated mascara. I bought this a little while ago and used it for a little bit and then put it away because I was like, I need to finish off these other mascaras. And so from what I remember, I really like it, but we'll see. Oh yes, I remember this now. I go through phases of like curling my lashes and not curling my lashes. Currently, I'm in a phase of not curling my lashes because I've been using that LA Girl mascara and it's like super lifting, and so I feel like I don't need to curl my lashes. But I do remember with this mascara, now that I'm putting it on, it definitely helps to curl your lashes because it's kind of a heavier formula, and so I feel like it kind of drags my lashes down a little bit, but who cares at this point? I'm going to finish off with a lip tint that hopefully I won't have to take off in like 10 minutes. You never know. But this is the Frank Body lip tint in the shade Send Nudes. It's a nice nude lip gloss. Well, it's not even like a gloss. It's like a lip tint, I guess you could say, since that is what it's called. Or I think it's a lip balm. Lip tint, whatever. Nice nude, warm shade. You know what? Since we're sitting here, I'm gonna kind of fix my hair up a little bit. This is day 4 hair. Today is Wednesday. I did my hair on Sunday. All I did to it this morning when I woke up was I took a wet comb and just kind of like combed through my roots a little bit. I get a little bit of like a crazy cowlick back on my head, and so I kind of like combed it down a little bit with a little bit of water, and that's it. So now I'm gonna style it a little bit. I just take a little bit of the back like crown area, and I have this like bristly round brush, natural bristle brush, and I'm gonna tease some of it. Nothing too crazy, just a light tease. Take down a layer, so I've just got like the top section. Do the same thing. Let that set. Take a layer here. I'm so excited. I'm getting my hair done on Friday, and it is long overdue. I, during quarantine, bleached my hair and colored it orange. I've done it twice now, like colored it twice. I used to use Arctic Fox hair color, and so that's like not the damaging process, the bleaching is. And that's also what is like the hardest to do. I don't normally bleach my own hair. I have not bleached my own hair in like years, like maybe like a decade, but was feeling confident in it and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it because I want to do my hair. And it turned out all right, but I'm definitely ready for my hairstylist to do it, and I think she's excited to do it, so I'm excited. Yay. But I am sticking with like the orangey color. I originally wanted it to be more of like a copper color, but I kind of like the like oranginess. I think it's really fun. It's different. You don't see a lot of people with orange hair, so I like it. But that is how I get ready. That's been my go-to process. I will cut out steps if I'm in a hurry. So like one that I cut out often is bronzer, and I'll just do like a bronzy blush kind of color with no highlight either. I'll just go with like a bronzy glowy blush and just kind of put it everywhere, and then just super simple brow. I won't go in with like a brow pencil. I'll just take like a tinted brow gel and like brush through my brows, and literally I can get ready like this, just a few little steps less, in about 10-15 minutes, and that's been a go-to thing recently. Or if I want to look a little bit extra glam like today, it takes like 30. It just took a lot longer to do it on camera. Or I'll do like more of a full face, and then it just is hidden up to here, and I don't know why I do it. It's just habit, and I like doing it. But that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved getting ready with you. I hope maybe you learned something or like had an idea while I was getting ready that you can also do. But thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would love to have you around. And until next time, bye guys.